Pew, pew, pew. Look at us. There we
There
are.
we are.
Hello, everybody. Thank you for tuning in to this. I don't know. What are we on? Like 10, 11 episodes through the garden? Been around
Yeah,
for
we
a
should
while
probably
now.
start keeping track. Yeah.
Yeah, Alex, Jordan, Tommy. Let's just start right off the bat. Alex got the Cocos.
Yeah, as you can see, I got the Cubs blanket on. You can hear the nice nasally voice, and you might hear a sneeze or cough or two. But I'm here. It's not quite the Michael Jordan flu game, but hey, it's something, right?
Yeah. But I appreciate you coming on. Like I have had COVID before, and I didn't enjoy it. I think this is your like 18th bout with it or something like that, right?
Second.
Okay. All right.
Just second. The first time was much worse. This just felt like a really bad cold, but coming on tonight, I needed something to look forward to. It's been kind of a dreary week, between not only being sick, but the weather has just been absolute garbage too, so that doesn't help things. So I'm like, all right, gloomy weather, spending time sick, needed something fun to look forward to, so I'm here.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate you being here. I know Jordan does too. And we have baseball. We have actual baseball to talk about, which is going to be so much fun. I can't wait to dive into baseball with you guys. But before we get to the baseballs, there is something that I would like to say. I want to talk about just kind of the journey all three of us are on, trying to make it in the sports media world. And I hope that there are people listening that either stopped because they thought they were doing it wrong and it was hard, or just don't feel like they have what it takes to do it. I hope there are people out there listening. So I used to have a Twitter handle that said that I was the king of Wrigley. I have changed it as of today. And I did this for several reasons, but the main reason that I did this is because the King of Wrigley thing that I did was personal to me. I grew up a big Cubs fan in Atlanta, and I moved up here in 2017 with my aunt and uncle and my cousin and a few friends and the Chicago Cubs, and that's who I knew. And the minute I got up here, I was like, I need to get to Wrigley immediately. And since I moved up here, what was it, like 7 years ago now? I've been here. I've been to like 70 something Cubs games. So like 10 a year, which is great, even with a COVID year in there.
Yeah.
So as much as I can. And the minute I moved up here, my family and my close friends started like, oh, he's the king of Wrigleyville. He's the king of Wrigleyville. And I thought that was so cool and so much fun to hang on to. And it was like a personal thing with me and a few friends. And I kind of ate it up a little bit with my friends and my family. And then I started getting opportunities to write and talk sports, right? With you guys at Fansided, and I've joined Sports Mockery, and I'm having so much fun doing that and just talking about the Cubs, because the Chicago Cubs are my favorite thing on planet Earth. I love the Cubs. I love being in Wrigley. It's my favorite thing to do. It's my favorite place to be. I met my wife there, and it's just
to the next
special.
Tom Ricketts. Oh boy.
Yeah.
Yikes. If I'm that rich, I promise you guys, I am spending on this team.
Yeah.
I'm going to be a Yankee spender. So help me God.
You say that now.
But anyways, like it's more than a baseball team to me at this point. Like it's a lot. And so
I feel that
as I'm trying to make it into the sports media world now, and I latched onto the King of Wrigley thing. I don't know if I'm like it's seen more as a shtick to the outside world than serious, I guess we would say. And I wish, if I could go back, I wish I had kept it personal and kept it with my friends and family, because when I'm writing these blogs and I'm doing these things, like I obviously want to have fun and do it, but I also want people to take me seriously. Like I know this team inside and out. I love this team inside and out. And I want to write blogs educationally, and I want to write it as a fan. And Sports Mockery has allowed me to do that. Fanside had allowed me to do that before, and I've had so much fun doing it. Like it's not about the money for me because all I want to do is just write and talk about the Cubs with whoever will listen and talk about the Cubs with me. I'll sit at the bar and talk to whoever comes up to me. Like that's just
For
what
sure.
I do, and I love this team. So I went with Tom of Wrigley because I'm always in Wrigley, and Tom is my name. I'm Tommy. That's who I am. I don't want to I feel like the king thing people I think it just got taken out of context where it was a personal thing to me and it was a fun thing with my friends and family. And so I don't want that to like I don't want it to intertwine with what I'm trying to do because I am trying to make it and I want to be on CHGO. I want to be on Barstool. I want to be on NBC Sports Chicago. I want to as far as the road will take me. And if it takes me as far as being on this podcast with like the 6 people that listen to us, that's good too. Like
For sure.
what I do is talk ball. And I appreciate you guys doing that with me and
Yeah.
hanging out with
We
me,
love doing
and
it.
it's fun. But
Yeah.
yeah, so
Each
I just
week is
kinda
a
wanted to
joy.
open the floor and talk about it because, doing this is hard. This is hard.
Mhm.
Like, it's hard
Oh,
to
yeah.
find stories. It's hard to put 500 words together to put a story out there. And it's hard to read some of these comments of like, "You clown, like, you idiot, what are you doing?" But
Mhm.
that's the gist. That's what we
Oh,
signed
yeah.
up for. That's what we're gonna do. So, yeah.
Yeah, I
Thoughts?
mean, you hit it right on the head. I mean, it's not easy. You come to be a sports writer, or in our case, a sports blogger, because you come for the days in which there's a big move. So, like, uh, when I'm one of the editors at Cubby's Crib, so the day that Cody Bellinger resigns, that's a huge day for the website. We have to make sure we have the news story covered. We have to make sure we have a slideshow to go with that news story. So you go to these positions for that day, what you realize is 75% of your job is actually talking about middle August. What's
Yeah.
Miles Mastrobroni going to do in the nine spot? And you have to try and drum up 300, 350 words. It's not easy, like you said, but it's what we love. It's our passion. It's why we keep
Yeah.
coming back each day. And I'm fortunate to be both an editor at Cubby's Crib and an editor at Bear God Goes On. So each day is a blessing in terms of it allows me to get my opinion out there. There's hate. You have to embrace the hate, especially when
Yeah.
you have the courage to hit submit on something. There's going to be people that don't like it. There's going to be people that think you're an idiot. But hey, you just have to have blindness to it, hit submit, and be ready
Yeah.
to hit the next one out the park.
Yeah, and you know what? If you have a separate opinion, log on. Put your
All
stuff
right,
out there.
yeah. I mean, that's the beauty.
Somebody's gonna agree with you.
Yeah,
Like
and yeah,
I don't dismay like people don't agree with me. Like that's fine. Like some of the
right.
comments I read the comments because I think it's fun.
Oh yeah,
And people are very not nice. But you know what? It's like I got you to click. So I don't
and
know.
that's ultimately the goal is
Right.
getting that click. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. You
So
know what, Tommy, it's interesting you talk about all this because, when I went to college for broadcasting. So kind of my dream was to do this kind of thing full time. And then you get out of college and you realize, well, shit, this is a lot harder than you think. You don't just apply to NBC Sports Chicago and all of a sudden you're doing play by play for the Cubs.
right.
It requires so much work, so much time, so much dedication, and a lot of uncompensated time too. You got to put a
Hmm.
lot of extra work into everything. You got to get
Yeah.
to know people. And, where life has kind of taken me is, my full time job, I'm in advertising, I'm a digital marketing analyst. And, I don't,
Right.
what I do, like writing for Cubby's Crib, doing the podcasting, sure, I'll get a little extra change on the side. And yeah, I get to do it every day, but, it's not my full career right now. As I got out of college and I started looking for things, I realized, what, to kind of get where I want to be, I got to do some other things first. And then I kind of discovered, hey, advertising, I kind of like doing this. And then, there was kind of this discovery of I kind of like the balance. I like being able
Right.
to get on here and do this podcast. I like going on Twitter, having a following and talking to people. I like being able to write about the teams that I like and talk about them on other platforms while, just saying, hey, this is just something I like to do. And it's
Yeah.
like a side hustle, hobby, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
So sometimes you kind of you realize in life the different paths that it takes you down. It never goes quite as planned, and
No.
there's always a better plan for all of us out there. It's just we can never truly tell what it really is. And, I've also discovered this too is that um, you'll hit something really, really well. And that things will go really, really well. And then there's going to be a roadblock. You're going to
Yeah.
be experiencing the highs and lows because let me tell you, my first advertising job was in hospitality, hotels. Okay. You're thinking, hey, the travel industry, that's never going to go down, right? Well, then March of 2020 happened. And um, 9 months later, a little more than 9 months later, a lot of us lost our jobs. And then
Yeah.
I got to a even better job right now in advertising.
Yeah.
So it's just like, it's never linear. Even if you think you're on top of the world at one point, there's always going to be something that kind of derails something or make things more complicated. But
Yeah.
if you just keep doing what you like, no matter at what capacity, that's worth something. I might
Yeah.
not, I might not go onto Swirsky Sports every week and have the same podcast numbers as say like, what they have on NFL Network or MLB Network or any major
Yeah.
podcast platform out there.
Right.
But I know that I like doing it and that we do have people that follow us and they enjoy what we do.
Right.
That's
Exactly.
rewarding in on its own, even if you're not making it a full-time commitment. So
Yeah.
that's just kind of the things
Yeah.
that I've taken away over the years.
No,
Definitely.
yeah.
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 You hit it. I think we're all on the same page. I think we all said it very well. Yeah, I mean it can be rewarding if you let it be rewarding. You're
Yes.
not
Right. Yeah.
if you like if you're as happy as you are with your mom and dad clicking on it a couple times as you would be if like 30,000 people are sharing it on the internet, then you're in the right business.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
if you're super good at it from the get-go, then tell us your secrets because like I'm still not good at it. I'm still figuring it out.
Yeah.
I know you
For
guys are
sure.
too. So yeah, and so really if there's anybody that wants to get into this, do it. See if you like it or not because you'll find out real quick if you get burned out by it or if you just don't like it and surround yourself with a nice pod that a pod of people that support you and
Yeah.
want to vibe with you too. So yeah, I mean that's really what I wanted to open up with today. Like it's not a big deal, and I wouldn't say like it's any specific reason why. It's just been something I've been thinking about lately, and
Yeah.
No,
I
yeah.
went ahead and decided to make the change and talk about it. And here we
No,
are.
yeah. And it's
Dude,
meaningful.
I took a complete break from Twitter for like a year and a half.
Yeah. I mean,
Oh yeah,
if you
yeah.
look at
I've done a social media cleanse, but
Yeah.
I will say I never gave up Twitter because I love the chaos of Twitter.
it's fun.
I will never get rid of Twitter. I can't.
Yeah,
That's a drug.
it's
I'm addicted.
yeah, it's fun, but I mean, to what you were saying, you kind of do have to have thick skin, unfortunately.
You gotta have thick
Yeah,
in this
skin,
you
and
day
you
do.
and
gotta
age.
and
So
you gotta
if
be
you,
willing to fail.
yeah, because
Yeah.
if you,
Yep.
especially if you look at Bears Twitter since the end of the season, it's been a shit show. I mean, excuse my
I've never
language,
seen
but
a fan base in
yeah,
this
I
direct.
mean, we've gone from debating real debate between if Justin Fields is a better quarterback than the potential of Caleb Williams, and now you log in each night, there's a pretty powerful person of Bears Twitter getting insulted personally for nothing related to a football related reason, and it's
Right.
just a
Right.
crazy time to be in terms of trying to get into blogging, trying to get into podcasting when there's just so much negativity around. And to
Yeah.
anyone that is trying to start, reach out to any one of the three of us, whether it's fan sided, whether it's
Please
at Sports Mockery, we're willing to give you a platform.
reach out to us
To
personally
begin. Yeah.
Yeah.
and we'll I mean, I don't have any pull about
No.
anything, but
I mean, I could
if you want,
get you
but
in
if
on fan side,
if somebody wants to like talk about starting a project, I love starting
Yeah.
projects. So
Yeah.
okay. That was fun.
That was.
Let's talk baseball. Before we talk baseball, no free ads, but this is a free ad. I have to say, over the last few weeks, I have gotten to like I was already friends with Joe at Obvious Shirts, but over the last few weeks, we've gotten to bond a little more. And Joe is one of the nicest humans on planet Earth. And his business has just like multiplied and multiplied and multiplied.
It's wonderful to see.
And he does it for the right reasons. And
Right.
it's so cool to see a community like the Cubs and in Wrigleyville, like everybody is wearing an Obvious shirt.
The players are wearing them.
The players are wearing them. Like, and it's so cool. And it's just so awesome to see. And if you don't know what Obvious Shirts is, you need to go and check out obviousshirts.com. If you're a Cubs fan, especially, like, just look at just look at the creativity this man has, and look at like, I mean, if you go to Wrigley, you will not go and not see an Obvious shirt anymore. I used to get excited when I saw somebody else wearing one because I was in 2017, 2018, like when he first started, right?
For sure, when they first started.
I had a couple and people would be like, "Oh my God, I love your shirt." And it would be rare to see one. Now, if you go and don't see one, something is seriously wrong, or it's only 10 degrees and everybody's got to wear their winter coats. So
right.
Obviousshirts.com.
Pictures.
Right. Yeah. I am. We'll get to that. I am wearing the new Bleacher Bums hoodie right here.
Yeah.
Which I will be wearing tomorrow in the bleachers. So if anybody's listening and is going to be in the bleachers, come hang out with me. I'm flying solo. I'm getting myself a ticket. I'm going to the game. So I'll be in the bleachers. Yeah. I would invite you, but you got the Cocos.
Jordan. Well, yeah.
Yeah. So obviousshirts.com, free advertisement. I love Joe. I love Obvious Shirts.
Yeah.
Go buy some Obvious shirts. I should be an ambassador.
Please do. I need to wear my favorite Obvious shirt that I have. It's the Kerrywood 20 strikeout box score shirt.
Yeah, isn't that cool?
As soon as they put that out, I had to get it. And then recently I made one of the custom ones where he's like, "Hey, just make one." And I did a black shirt and it says, "Remember the Torco sign." Real Cubs fans remember the Torco sign.
Yep.
As I'm sure you guys do.
Yeah.
And he has Torco shirts in stock. So,
yeah. Very few people knew what it actually was, but that sign was there for many, many years. And the Torco was oil and engine lubricant, something like that. It was something in auto, but it was kind of a staple at the park for a long time. It's funny you mentioned that. Speaking of Cubby's Crib, one of the articles I wrote, I don't know if you remember this one, Jordan. This might have been a few years ago, but I did kind of a list of popular features of Wrigley Field that are no longer there, and one of those was the Torco sign.
Yeah,
love it. Yeah,
definitely.
Yeah, that's awesome. My first Obvious shirt was "Beer tastes better in the bleachers." Scientifically proven, by the way.
There you go.
Beer does taste better in the bleachers.
Hard to argue that.
Yeah. So I'll be wearing this. Come find me Friday. I'll also be wearing my sweet ass Cubs starter jacket, but underneath it will be this obviousshirts.com. Let's talk about the Cubs. I love this team. I love this team so much. I'm so happy. Like, there are so many problems, and there's so many little quirky things that we have to talk about and have to fix. But my God, this has given me, I'm not saying we're this good. I'm just saying 2015 vibes of everybody's having a good time.
I will say,
big declaration.
I will say the remaining 150 odd games aren't going to be played against the Colorado Rockies.
Correct. Yes.
And I think we're going to see a true, I wrote about this today, or actually an article coming out tomorrow morning. We're going to see a true measuring stick game or a series this weekend against the Dodgers. Word of advice to Cubs pitchers is make sure you get Gavin Lux out because you don't want that lineup turning over. And then all of a sudden you have Mookie, you have Shohei, you have
Yeah.
Freddie. And
Yeah.
I'm not sure if anyone who's watching this, anyone who's listening, not sure if you looked up the offensive stats in Major League Baseball.
I got them
There's
right here.
one name leading most of them.
Leader
It's Mookie
in
Betts.
yeah, and team wise too. I wrote about this today as well. The Dodgers lead the major leagues in runs, in hits, in home runs, in RBIs, but a little light in the tunnel here. They're striking out the second most in baseball.
Also,
Right.
those run numbers. Okay, it sounds like I'm discrediting them, but I'm not. But keep in mind, they've played 2 more games than everybody but the Padres.
Well, right. Yeah.
Correct.
No, for
yes.
sure. And
But how about this?
But they're still amazing, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But how about this? The Chicago Cubs offense stand up and be proud because they have the 6th best batting average in the majors
Well, yeah,
right now.
I mean,
Highest
that's-
OBP.
276. How about that?
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
OBP is
mean-
crazy. Let's see where they are on the OBP. They're second
Yeah, I mean,
to the Pittsburgh Pirates.
yeah. Alex has a story coming out tomorrow, which is
Uh-huh.
going to touch on like what the Cubs are doing. They're taking walks, so not striking out.
Yeah.
If they probably won't be able to keep up at the pace they're currently at, but
No, there's
as
no
long
chance.
as long as they're prioritizing walks over strikeouts, this offense is going to be real good, real fast.
I mean, just
Yeah.
the value of good at bats that we've seen, you know, over the past 4 or 5 games. I mean, look at the finale against the Rangers. You scored 9 runs and you had a 4-run rally in the 9th to take control of that game and win it drama free. And that all
Yeah.
started with an Ian Happ go ahead walk and a really tight at bat. And then, I mean, against the Rockies, they were just left and right. They were drawing walks constantly,
Yeah.
left and right. They were getting on base. And the Rockies are a joke. They are terrible. But
Yeah, they're not
the
good.
fact that they were playing in such garbage conditions and the Cubs were able to stay focused and be able to execute those at-bats consistently. I mean, Ian Happ's at-bats look great. Nico Hoerter's drawing a shit ton of walks, even
Oh,
though
yeah.
he's not hitting
Mhm.
much. And then it's like, okay, when you
Yeah.
have guys like them walking and then you let Seiya, who's hitting the cover off the ball, you let him and Morel drive in the runs, you know, then that's a pretty good recipe for success. So if you're able to keep this similar type of offensive strategy throughout the entire year, you know, you don't have the firepower that the Dodgers and the Braves have. But
Right.
when you're able to use this, you know, strategy of good at bats, long at bats, getting on base, putting the ball in play, it's going to be easier for you to sustain a consistent offense, because when you're swing and miss and swinging for the fences all the time, you know, that is the potential real boom or bust. So,
Yeah.
you know, you just want to stay consistent with this philosophy because it will help you.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
Sorry, go ahead. Go ahead.
I'll say to anyone that doubted Cody Bellinger's 2-strike approach, he's done it time after time after time during the first week of the season. And shout out to Tuesday, the fans that stayed at the game chanting his name, and Cody just hits one into Schwarber territory in right field. That was a phenomenal sight to see.
So let me tell you about what happened from a first person view here.
Yeah.
It was incredible. So we're already, by the way, Tuesday night, there were still 23,000 strong at
Nice.
Wrigley,
Yeah.
which is, for the weather, that's a stupid number. That's just a stupid number. Nobody should be there, but 22,000 of us were there. My buddy Joe and I, shout out Joe, a different Joe. He and I were talking, and we were like, okay, Cubs get an early lead. Maybe we consider it. I'm not a leaver of early. I think I've left early of a bajillion game career at Wrigley like twice. I've left early. I regretted it super one time, but that's a story for another day. But then I remembered, it's going to be the first night of the new lights and changing colors. So I was like, now we have to stay. So 6th inning rolls around. Cody comes up and the bleachers are going nuts. We had just like right when Cody came up, we had just finished the left field sucks and right field sucks. And I was not in the bleachers. I was in my season tickets for the first time. Shout out me.
There you go.
And then so then the bleachers start going crazy. Cody. And I turned to my friend Joe and I said, if he hits one right now, this place is gonna go bonkers. And literally when I finished the S in bonkers, crack of the bat.
Yeah.
And the minute it came off the bat, you knew it was gone.
Yeah.
He
Oh
was
yeah,
staring
watching
at
it on TV.
We
Yeah.
were staring at it, and then it bounces off the scoreboard, and
like halfway up.
I mean, I've been in a Wrigley Stadium full with a home run, and it wasn't as loud as that.
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
was
Mhm.
awesome. It was
Yeah.
so cool, and it is a home run that it may not seem like it, but we're going to be talking about that home run for
Oh,
a very
yeah.
long time.
I think
sure.
so. I
Because-
was literally just saying that. Yeah.
Yeah, we're going to be talking about that one for a long time because it's the first one since he re-signed, since we
Mhm.
finally got him back. Fans have been chomping at the bit. They get their home run, and now we're just going to chant Cody every time he comes up the bat.
Right.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
there's certain at bats that you just remember, whether it's Anthony Rizzo's at bat against the Cardinals when the first time they had fans again in Wrigley after the pandemic, whether it's Cody Bellinger's at bat, Kyra Schwarber's at bat in the wild card game against Pittsburgh. You remember these things. That was another one that you just remember because of the moment, because of the
Yep.
excitement that is surrounding this team right now.
It was just remarkable. It was so much fun. So, but to go to your point, Cody right now, he is batting. Sorry, this is so unprofessional. He's batting 208 right now, but that contact off the bat is coming
Right,
off something
yeah.
fierce.
The
He's
approach
just-
looks fine. Nothing looks
he
lost
looks
there.
fine. It's gonna come around, but I want to point out some other ones here for you. Michael Busch with 3 hits the other night. He's totally
Yeah,
all
looked
open.
real good last
Yeah,
night.
he looked
And- yeah.
dialed in. Yeah.
Yep, and then Seiya Suzuki, of course, we know. I mean, his 2 home runs. He's now on a 2 home run streak. Tuesday night was the hardest hit ball of his career, and I mean, it was a laser. Like if you blinked, you didn't see it. It
Yeah,
was
it was
so
gone.
fast. Great hit, and he's making excellent contact. Just
That
excellent
home run
contact.
was stupid because I was watching it on TV. It
Yeah.
literally looked like a line out to center. Then all of a
Yeah.
sudden it's bouncing
It
in the
just kept
basket.
carrying, yeah.
It just was
Mhm.
like it just kept carrying. It looked like one of the a PGA drive, like where it kind of starts low and then goes high. It kind of looked like that.
Yeah.
Speaking of drive, did you see that George Bush meme I had of Cody Bellinger?
Yes,
I did see that one. That was a good
Amazing.
one.
I was
Yeah.
proud of that,
That was
one.
a good one.
I was
yeah,
proud of that
was
one.
good. That was awesome. But then going up the list too, I mean, let's just first before we get to Chris Morel, I want to skip him and go to Ian Happ. Ian Happ right now is batting 391.
Oh yeah.
That is not a joke. His on base is 500, and his OPS is 935.
Yeah.
The emergence
Phenomenal start to the
of Ian
season.
Happ is shutting people up left and right.
And I love it. I love
He
it.
started
Yeah.
off so
I love
slow,
it.
and people were so fast to be like, Ian doesn't have it anymore. Like, why don't you bring up Owen Casey to play left? Like,
It's
being all
ridiculous.
Eeyore about it.
Yeah,
And
ridiculous.
Ian
It's
Happ is saying,
pathetic.
yeah.
5
5
walks.
walks.
Looks at
Yeah.
anyone that looks at stats and is like, oh, he's hitting 100. It's like it's been 1 week of games prior to
Yeah.
yesterday.
Pump the brakes.
Someone was ready to put Michael Bush in the Matt Mervis category of bust, and then Michael Bush went out and had a 3-for-3 night, and
Yeah.
that's what's so crazy about the opening week is the overreactions. Whether it was Ben Brown struggles on Saturday, whether it was Michael Bush not seeing the results, but if you dove into his
Yeah, bats are good.
yeah, I was about to say if
Yeah.
you dove into his advanced numbers, his expected OB on base percentage, his expected slugging percentage, his expected batting average were off the charts, and we saw that come to fruition finally yesterday. So,
Yep.
if you're one of these people that look at the news, people see a stat line and think this player's not doing good, guess what? It's 2024. That day's
Yeah.
is gone. Yeah,
Yeah. And keep watching ball. Just keep watching
yeah.
ball.
And I don't
Ball
want to
doesn't
be
lie.
that. I don't want to be that guy to pick on Matt Mervis. But frankly, in a very small sample size, Michael Bush's approach in the majors already looks better
And
than
that's
Mervis's did.
that's what I was trying to tell people this offseason when we acquired Michael Bush. Everyone was like, "Oh, this is Matt Mervis all over again." No, it's not. Matt Mervis was never a top prospect in baseball. This is
Matt
why,
Mervis was forced to come
yeah,
up. Like,
and this
we
is
had
why,
to have him come up. Yeah.
yeah, and this is why Matt Mervis was always going to be an unlikely chance of having success at the major league level because, frankly, for as great as his rise through the Cubs minor league system was, percentage chances are that someone who's undrafted or would have been undrafted would not be a major league star. Yes, there are
Right.
exceptions, but Matt Mervis has a particular swing which he's really good at. He's really good at hitting AAA pitching out, but Major League has a book on him and he can't adjust. Michael Bush has adjusted, whether it's AA to AAA, and we're seeing that now at the Major League level now that he has a full run. The guy was born to hit. He's hit everywhere he's gone, and he's going to hit here.
And to be fair with like Matt Mervis, like listen, maybe down the road he has a somewhat useful tenure in the major leagues, but it's gonna be really
yeah.
hard for him in this organization, honestly, just with the
Oh, yeah.
depth that's already there, you know. So, but you know, the obviously, like, was Michael Bush ever guaranteed to be anything? No, you know, the same
No.
thing with Matt Mervis. But to your point, Jordan, is the ceiling for Bush is higher. That's
Yeah.
the ceiling is higher for Bush because he is a legitimate top prospect. And you know, so far it's a very small sample size. We'll see how this plays out, but so far I think that Michael Bush's approach has been very good.
Yep.
It's been
And
incredible.
we saw this week that even if he struggles, Alex's guy Garrett Cooper is ready. I mean,
I pounded that pretty hard.
yeah. I
That guy
mean,
can
he
hit. Look at his career.
and we saw it this week. I mean, the weather conditions at Wrigley were terrible, and he still hits an oppo home run. I mean, yeah.
And it was, I mean, nobody was talking about his oppo power when we
Yeah.
signed it. And like his first bomb of spring was oppo.
Yeah.
And
Yes,
now
it
he
was.
did that. Yeah. And it was no cheap home run either that he got on Tuesday night. It was he struck
And he
it.
has
He struck
wheels
it.
getting a triple.
Yeah, well, my guy Chris
No,
Bryant
yeah.
helped out a little bit on that one.
Man, can
But
we just
that's what
talk about Chris Bryant for a second?
you know,
'Cause
you don't have to ask me.
I hope he's happy, man. Bruce Levine called up with him, and he was talking about where he's at right now, and it sounds like a guy that is happy, but it also sounds like a guy that lost the love for baseball. And for as
Yeah.
exciting as his rise was through the Cubs organization, there's a part of me that is just sad now watching him because you always wonder, did the business side of his handling with the Cubs just ruin something that he once loved?
Yeah. So I don't have any insight for you other than I am his number one fan.
Yeah.
But here's I was thinking about this all week because I was there Monday. He gets the standing ovation. He has no
Yeah.
choice but to tip his cap. Like,
Right.
and that's gonna be every first at bat of the first game
Oh,
of the
yeah.
series
Every year
forever.
for the rest of
For
his
yeah.
career.
for
Yeah.
the rest of
yeah.
his career
Yeah.
coming to Wrigley, right? So I got to thinking about this because I also got to meet somebody at Sluggers, a guy who works at Sluggers. I think his name is Steve, and he works the token booth upstairs at Sluggers. And my wife and I went on Monday because Monday opening day, and it was our anniversary, and Sluggers is where I met my wife. And so we went upstairs and the guy was like, "Hey, how's it going?" I mean, it's 10 in the morning. And so we told him our story and I told him, I don't know if I ever told you guys this, but I told my wife when I first met her that I was Chris Bryant and she believed me. But
Nice.
yeah, long story short, not Chris Bryant, but she still married me. Anyways,
There you go.
so I told the guy that, and he said, Chris Bryant is the nicest human on planet Earth.
Oh, yeah.
And then he told me a story about how Chris Bryant is his grandson's favorite player, and his grandson was supposed to come and meet him when he was doing the Red Bull Sluggers thing, and his grandson wasn't able to, and he told Chris that, and Chris said, "Let's take a picture and send it to him." And so they sent the
Oh, wow.
picture,
That's awesome.
and then Chris got a copy of the picture too. And then a couple weeks later, Steve got something in the mail from Chris, and it was a huge picture, or it was a huge copy of that picture made out to his grandson, and with Chris signing it. And it's like, that's the kind of guy that Chris Bryant is. And I asked him, "Do you think they're ever going to cover up that mural on where Eddie and Clark right there?"
Please,
And he
no.
said, if they don't, if they
No.
do, he said that if they do, it would break his heart. And they can't, because
No.
that's how loved
Yeah.
Chris Bryant is by the fans. And over 50% of the fans, and I know I'm rambling and I'm sorry, but over 50% of the fans don't understand the business side of baseball. And it got ugly.
Right.
And it was as ugly as it could be. And I wrote a big long blog about this on Sports Mockery too, if you want to go look at it. I've written 18,000 blogs on Chris Bryant. But the thing that got me is I saw him from afar, but I saw him tip his cap, and he motioned the yawn. He was like, "Let's play ball. Like, come on, let's do this." This is again, this is just me observing my favorite baseball player. I don't think he likes coming to Chicago, because because it reminds him of the billboard that was there, and the expectations that were there, and the expectations he met and exceeded, and still got ran out of town by the wrong people, but he still got ran out of town. And he always wanted to stay in Chicago, but when 2021 rolled around and he got traded, you could see the relief on his face when it was finally over and he was free. And the whole article that came out about him signing with the Rockies, and he was like, "I guess I didn't research it," or whatever. Do you know why he didn't research it? Is because Denver, Colorado is probably the closest franchise to where his family lives outside of Las Vegas. He wants to be close to his family, and he just wants to play ball without anybody telling him he has to be this or has to be that.
And he's financially set for life.
He could have gotten more money. He could have gotten more money. I will go to the grave believing that he could have gotten more money to go anywhere else, but he chose Colorado because that's where he wanted to play, and he didn't care who was good, who wasn't. He just wanted to play 7, 8 more years, whatever it was, and then call it a career. And that's it. And I believe that he is happy knowing that he's close to his family. I just don't think he likes coming back to Chicago, and I don't blame him for a second.
Oh, no, yeah. And that was honestly the main takeaway I had when he was talking with Bruce Levine is if you listen to his answers were all surrounded by, well, as long as the fans will do this, it's going to be cool. As long as the fans will give me a standing ovation, that's always cool. It's always cool with how the fans remember me. Like you said, the business side between the Cubs and Chris Bryant got ugly. It probably will be ugly for a while. The hope, if you're a Cubs fan, is that, Cub convention 10, 15 years down the line, we have that mending of the fence. It hasn't happened with Sammy Sosa, but the Cubs have shown
a little different personality.
Oh yeah,
incredibly different.
I was not
right. I know what you were saying. I know what you were saying.
We have this. Cubs refuse to do this with Sammy Sosa, but the Cubs also are there for Rhino. They're there to rekindle some of the relationships they've severed in the past. Kerry Wood being one of them. So I hope that down the line at a future Cub convention, we have the mending of the fence where Chris is welcomed back by the organization.
I think he will be.
I think it's going to be the other way around. I think the minute he retires, they're going to want him back, and he's going to say, "I need some time."
I agree.
I don't blame him.
Sure. Yeah.
I do not blame him.
I fully agree.
Yeah, because again, biggest Cubs guy there is. Cubs wronged him, and they wronged him big, and they ruined something that could have been like Ernie Banks again. We have not had, like, Chris Bryant was going to be the next Ernie Banks, Cub for life, Mr. Cub, everything. And the Cubs ruined it. It was on them completely.
So I will say the Cubs definitely handled the business side wrong. I'm 100% glad they never signed him to a contract extension, though.
That's fair.
As much as I love Chris Bryant, and the Cubs were wrong with how they handled the business side of the contract as he was coming up. I'm glad that we're at a life without Chris Bryant, because
That's fair.
that would have
I
been
will
another
s-
contract that
eh,
handcuffed us.
I will say I think it would be different if everything were handled differently. If
Oh, well,
if
yeah.
this were handled with humility and grace and mutual respect on both sides, where good things were like
Oh, yeah, for
where
sure.
things were good on both sides, I think Chris Bryant's career trajectory would be a lot different. Like, you can say injuries, whatever, but how much of that, like, how much of a toll does it take to, like, go play baseball when you don't wanna play baseball for so
Oh,
long,
right,
you
yeah.
know?
And well,
I
that's
think
what
it's a
was
little
so
column A and a little column B, frankly. I just
yeah.
Yeah.
Mm.
he's had a number of physical issues over the years, and they just kept
Yeah.
piling up.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it stinks. It stinks.
and it's
But
not to
I
take
truly
away
believe
from
he
how
is
great he
happy.
was, yeah.
Yeah, I
Yeah, I
truly
mean, I
believe
think
he is happy.
I think I think in a grand scheme of things, he's happy. I just wonder the toll of the business with the Cubs. How much should that impact his love for baseball? Because it was Chris Bryant himself who said he would tell his son not to play baseball.
Yeah.
So I think there is damage there, whether it's admittedly to where he's comfortable with it or it's so deep down in him. I think, yeah, generally he has a beautiful wife, beautiful kids. He has money. He's done all there is to do in Major League Baseball. So I think he is happy. I just wonder the Chicago aspect of it. Maybe
Yeah.
that's what it's at. He just doesn't like being in Chicago. So
I think
it
he
creates
doesn't like
all
coming
kinds
back.
of
Yeah.
uncomfortableness. Yeah.
Yeah, it is
And it's not that
uncomfortable.
he doesn't like the fans or he doesn't
Right.
appreciate the
Yeah.
love. It's nothing like that. But you know what? Um, some people don't handle spotlight the same way, and that's
Oh, yeah.
just kind of how it is. And I feel like too that there's an element of beyond the Cubs control themselves. Chris Bryant, just in the environment of where you are under constant scrutiny, where
Right.
you're constantly under, criticism or anything when something doesn't go exactly the way that it's expected to be. That's just what Chris Bryant didn't want to be. And that's just a testament to the environment. I mean, this is
Right. Yeah.
Chicago at the end of the day. This isn't Colorado. This isn't Milwaukee. This isn't Oakland. This isn't Miami. This is Chicago.
Yeah.
So, when you're here or New York or Boston or LA, those, four markets stand above anybody else. And it's not always for the faint of heart. I mean, we know
Yeah.
Yeah.
that.
No, agree.
You want to
Yeah.
know a funny example? One of my all-time favorite baseball movies of all time. It might be one of my favorite baseball movies ever. Have you ever seen the movie 61 about Roger Maris?
Yeah. Yeah.
It is a phenomenal baseball movie. And one of the highlights in that movie is how ruthless the press is. How
Yeah.
unbelievably now we've evolved since then. That was 1961. This is the
Yeah.
2010s. We have evolved, but there's still
Yeah.
that same element of when you're in a big, big pond like New York or Chicago, you're under just that constant pressure and the expectations are higher than anywhere else.
Yeah.
And some people deal better with it than others. And for Chris Bryant, when you talked about Chris Bryant in his rookie year, and everybody
Mhm.
said if this guy wins a World Series, he's never going to have to buy another meal in this town again. You know?
So true,
And
yeah.
yet, after
It's
when
still
the World
true.
Series was, I mean, truly it should be. It really is.
Yeah.
But think about it. Like, after they won the World Series, the expectations for him to be who he was in 2016 were so incredibly high. And
Yeah.
then
Yeah.
when it wasn't happening, people are like, what the hell's going on? You know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Unfair.
No,
It was just
agree. Yeah.
unfair.
Yeah.
So,
It's just the nature of the game, and it's
Yeah.
it's not fair. It'll never be fair. That's just the reality of it. It's not
Yeah. I
fair. It's
mean,
not
yeah.
logical.
I
It's
mean,
not reasonable.
yeah. No, unfortunately, sports isn't fair. I mean, and you actually brought up another excellent point is if you look at Bryant's 2017 season, it was a phenomenal season. It was better than his MVP season, but because of the enormous expectations that were on him, people considered it a bust. And it's like, what are we doing here?
Higher
Right.
average, higher OBP. The only thing is
Yeah.
he didn't hit as many homers.
Right. Yeah.
It's yeah.
Yeah.
Anywho, I love talking about Chris Bryant. I'll do it for forever.
Yeah. White Sox
Maybe
brought
we'll-
back Mike Clevenger.
Yeah, we need to talk about that. But I do have a couple more Cubs things I'd like to get to, if you guys don't mind.
Sure.
Of course. Yeah.
I just want to read the room here and just figure out if this is good.
Mm-hmm.
6 innings pitched, 2 hits, no runs, no earned runs, no home runs, no hit batsman, no walks, and 9 strikeouts. That pretty good?
Shota Minaga, yeah, pretty
Had a
good.
good debut. Yeah.
Electric. How
Yeah.
cool was that? And after giving up back-to-back hits in the 6th, gets the strikeout
Yep.
to end the 6th.
Perfect
And
script.
I mean, but we got to start with him coming out of the dugout because I know you guys weren't there.
No, they
But
showed the
I
clip,
was
yeah.
waiting, and I was like, they did their little new pregame video and stuff, and then I felt like I was at the United Center because they hit the Chelsea dagger, and I'm like,
I
this
know.
is incredible.
Isn't
And he
that
comes out,
great?
and
That
I was like,
cool.
let's
Yeah.
go! Like, it was
Wow.
so awesome. And then after the game, he's like, yeah, I chose it because I think the fans will love it. I was like, you're damn right we do, buddy.
Oh yeah.
Welcome to Chicago. You might be my new favorite.
Yeah. No. Yeah. It was electric. I mean, you talk about a big answer for the Cubs rotation because prior to that start, let me tell you, there was a concern. Justin
Yeah.
C was going to be out for the next month. The Cubs
Mhm.
have to find a top of the rotation starting pitcher. And Shota came out and was electric. Excited to see it against a non-Rockies team. Unfortunately, that's just a caveat we have to put on a lot of
Yeah.
these numbers is we have to see it against a non-Rockies team.
Yeah.
But
The only
you
thing
look at
the only thing that's upsetting is Imanaga and Yamamoto
I
would have
know
been an electric showdown,
that
but
would
they're
have been fun
missing
to
each
watch.
other
Yeah,
by a
I know.
day.
They just
Yeah.
missed.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that would have been fun to
They just
watch. But
missed.
no, I'm excited. Beyond, I know what I was just saying about the Rockies, but if you just look at how he was utilizing his pitches, I think there's some real stuff that's going to play. And it's kind of what I was telling people on Saturday night, going back to Ben Brown when he got lit up by the Rangers. Everyone was like, "Oh, here we go again." I'm like, honestly, it's a case of him going up against Texas on ring ceremony night. He's making his major league debut. In hindsight, kind of get what Counsell did. Hey, get
Yeah.
those nerves out right away. Once you're back at Wrigley, we're going to get you going. We saw that yesterday. He was Ben Brown yesterday, and
Yeah.
there's a lot of things to like about the Cubs moving forward. Ben Brown's one of them. Shota's one of them.
Yeah, and I
Mhm.
tell you what, like I question, like when Steele went down, I was like, "Oh boy, like we're in big trouble."
Oh,
We
everyone
can't-
was. Yeah.
We
Yeah.
can't
Oh,
rely.
it
we
was very
can't rely
worrisome.
on.
Yeah.
I was like, we can't rely on Ben Brown and Javier Assad.
No.
They shut me up real quick because Javier
Yeah,
Assad had himself
yeah.
a day too.
Yeah.
He just
And-
won.
Six
He did
innings
what he
of
had to
his
do.
own.
Get outs. Yeah.
Yeah.
And-
And
But when are we going to start talking about him more? Because that's like, other than a couple starts here and there, especially like a couple starts last year, that's all Javier Assad has done. He's come in and he's gotten outs.
well, that's what's going to be so fascinating to watch with Counsell this season. We saw it yesterday. Cubs fans, we're going to have to recalibrate how we look at starting pitchers because Craig Counsell does not look at a starting pitcher in terms of can he give me 5 or 6 innings. Craig Counsell goes into each game mapping out his 27 outs. Whether
Mhm.
that's Luke Little coming in yesterday in the first inning, getting those 2 lefties out, and then going to Ben Brown, that's going to be the type of thing we see more often this season. And that's why Javier Assad could be an unsung hero to the Cubs pitching staff this season for that very reason. He might not be a starter, but
Right.
he could come in the second, third inning, give the Cubs 4 or 5 innings, and then boom, we're right there for Alzolay. We're right there for Leiter. We're right there for Merriweather. I'm not going to say Hector Neris yet because, boy, if he's not picking up that velocity, we are in trouble for that spot.
Big trouble.
I am going to be a little fair to Hector Neris for a second.
Oh, yeah, same.
Just going to throw this out. Like yesterday, he came in a garbage situation.
Oh, yeah.
Terrible.
Really
terrible.
And that's the thing. And it's crazy because, like, had I just going off yesterday, wouldn't even say it. But the fact is, he got lit up by the Cubs prospects during workouts. He got lit up in spring training performances.
Yeah, I know.
So it's like, you're a veteran. I'm going to give you the benefit of the doubt, but it's just things I just like to fire away. Be like, oh, let me check back in May, see where we're at with this.
File that very far away and just focus on the good. Focus on the good. Yeah, it's going to be a tough weekend, and it starts with Kyle Hendricks on Friday. I'm scared. I'm scared to death.
Yeah,
and it's probably gonna take 8 or 9 runs to win. I'm gonna be honest.
Yeah,
but
and honestly,
has this team shown that they're not capable of that?
Oh yeah, this offense is good, and we just go back to the lineup. Part of the reason why it's having success is because of how it's structured. Ian Happ is a phenomenal leadoff hitter against right-handed pitchers, and we have that great at bat right away, leading into Seiya, leading into Cody, leading into Christopher, leading into Dansby.
It's also worth noting that the Dodgers have the 3rd highest ERA of 290, team ERA of 294, and they've given up the most home runs. So
yeah, I mean,
it's worth at least saying that.
If there was any time
to be playing,
if there was any time to be playing the Dodgers, it's April in Wrigley Field. So,
oh heck yeah,
I think the timing at least helps a little bit. I mean, you're getting them at a cold Wrigley Field versus like a July wind is blowing out, so it might not mean anything at the end of the day. They still might beat you, but at least one, it gets it part of it over with, and 2, it might give you a slight advantage here because the Padres series was in Korea, obviously, and then the first 2 series that the Dodgers played were at home, I believe, in Chavez Ravine in California. So this is their first trip to a not so friendly environment. Again, will it do anything? I don't know, but
we'll be watching.
We'll see.
Yeah. And I will say that we visit Dodger Stadium at a crucial time, September 9th through the 11th. We are in Los Angeles.
Well, hopefully by then the Dodgers will have 100 wins already, and they're well ahead. They're not. Yeah, exactly. So, guys, I hate to bring this back, but somebody's calling me blind and dumb because I questioned him about. This guy's calling Chris Bryant a big whiner. When did he whine?
Oh, he's not a whiner, no.
When did he ever whine?
Wait, where do you see that?
I posted something about Chris Bryant today, and then I should have known not to do that because then just the stupid fills up.
Yeah. I mean,
it stinks. It stinks. Stinks.
There's certain people that in Chicago sports you can't mention, otherwise it gets stupid.
It's like talking about Bears quarterbacks, man.
Yeah, Chris Bryant would always be someone that you write about him and it would start a civil war in the comment section.
Yeah.
And that's not how it was supposed to be.
Exactly. And
it didn't have to be like this.
No.
And one thing, regardless of what anyone thinks of Chris, he represented the Cubs in a phenomenal way. He was one of the best.
He never said a bad thing and still hasn't said a bad thing about the Cubs. And he has every right to.
Yeah, they all could.
Every right to.
But no, that's just a lame take to have about Chris Bryant.
Yeah, he quotes me, "You blind revisionist history." Like what?
No.
In other news, my wife would like to be the head of scouting for the Chicago Cubs. So we got that
going. There we go. Yeah.
Hey, get it done. Get it done.
I don't know if we want that. She texted me today. Sorry, Anna, I'm bringing this up. She texted me today that her coworkers told her that if she had another job, it would be in sports broadcasting. And here's how the broadcast would go. Okay, he throws in the ball. Wait, he doesn't have the ball. Wait, maybe he does have the ball. Why is there a whistle?
Oh
That's how it
man,
would go.
yeah, it's always a fun experience watching games with the wife because
And Anna gets
sometimes
into it more than anybody, but she just gets
and
too
it's so
excited.
fun because and sometimes like they'll say something because like we so look into everything, and then they'll say something so simple but it makes so much more sense, and you're like, wow,
Yeah.
actually, I should have
She
just
is
said it like yeah.
Anna is the salt of the earth for putting up with my chaos. So
Oh
shout
yeah,
out
Yeah,
Anna.
it's good to have, isn't it?
Yeah.
for sure.
All right. Now we got to talk about some crappy stuff.
No.
At least it's on the south side, but I feel so bad for Sox fans.
I mean, you talk about an FU to the fans. You are a joke against Detroit. You make a mockery out of your first base coach who probably just in the bathroom, and you can't even say that. You have to defend him as a coach because you think you're being ridiculed. And then on the
Dude, when you gotta go, you gotta go. Just say, hey,
right,
he had to relieve
and
himself. No
then
big deal. It happened.
Honestly, just go on the field. Like that's the same
and
thing that's
then
already out there.
you punch your fan base directly in the gut by bringing back Mike Clevenger into White Sox general manager Chris Getz, who was defending the investigation process and pretty much insinuated that nothing was found against Mike Clevenger. I didn't go to law school. I watched 1,000 episodes of Law and Order.
Mm.
Mike Clevenger reached an agreement with Olivia Feinstein. So, no, Chris, the investigation wasn't dismissed. Mike Clevenger reached a settlement to just end the investigation. That doesn't
Yeah.
rid Clevenger of any wrongdoing. Allegedly, I know he's notable for throwing his weight around with his lawyer. So if you're watching this, Mike, you're probably not, but don't sue us, but you're a bad guy. And the fact that the White Sox brought him back is just a joke to the organization and the fan base.
It's just so bad. And like we'll never know the woman's side of this, like being a woman and a fan of the
Right.
Sox and this happening, like we'll never know that side of it. And I'm not even gonna try to pretend
Right.
to speak for anybody. But I mean, from my standpoint, like I have a wife, I have a
Right.
sister, I have a mom.
Yep.
Like I would not be okay with it.
No,
And
at all.
yeah, and there are people out there. Oh, how can you say that when you had Aroldis Chapman on the World Series team? To my knowledge, I did not know that was happening at the time. If I
Oh,
knew
no, yeah.
if I knew at the time that that was a thing, then yeah, we could talk about that because I don't know.
It is
But
kind of nice that he wasn't the one to get the historic
oh
final
yeah,
out.
he got
It all
torched.
worked out in the
He
end.
Yeah.
he is the product of the worst home run of my life.
Yes,
So
that's
there's
true.
that.
That's
And I
true.
was in Cleveland at the game for that home run,
Yeah.
and let me tell you, I
Yeah.
thought it was over at that
So did
moment.
I, and I was watching at
Yeah.
home on my TV.
Yeah. Yeah, and
Yeah. But
to
yeah,
the
someday okay, file that away for off-season talk
oh,
of
yeah.
reliving our Game 7 World Series
Yeah.
experiences
Oh,
because I
we
feel
can
like
have
that
a
would
whole
yeah,
podcast episode on that.
that would be a fun episode
Yes,
for
yes.
sure.
We'll make that a
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah,
Definitely.
and by then, you know what? Maybe we'll have some people on to share their stories. So that would be
There we
fun.
go. Yeah.
But yeah. Okay, now we got to talk about the A's.
Buddy.
Yeah.
I have
Yeah.
I have a tweet bookmarked that I would like to read to the
I
group.
hope it's not the tweet I saw because man, it is cringe.
It's not the A's tweet. It's Buster Olney's
Okay.
response to it, which I thought was pretty good because Buster Olney, say what you will about him, he loves baseball and
Yeah.
he's a baseball guy. So if you're a baseball fan and you're seeing what the A's are doing, you just got to be sick to your stomach for the fans of the A's, the city of Oakland, the population of Oakland, I should say, not the city.
Yeah.
They screwed it up just as much. But how are the owners not getting involved here? But whatever. This is what Buster Olney said. It appears that the difference between what Oakland offered and what the A's wanted was about $35 million over 3 years. That's the same as the Angels are paying reliever Robert Stevenson. Meanwhile, the owners overseeing an industry worth many tens of billions of dollars stand by and watch their weakest franchise put on this cheap circus and do nothing. Incomprehensible and a terrible business decision.
Yeah. What a
Now let's
mess.
look up the A's tweet, shall we?
Oh, and the replies are off.
Yeah. So the A's turned off their replies so nobody can
They
reply
had
to it.
to. Yeah, they had
Yeah.
to. It was bad.
5.5 thousand people retweeted it, but you know those are quote tweets. You just know they're quote tweets.
Oh, 100%.
This was the statement. It says, Sutter Health Park in West Sacramento will host the A's for 2025 through 27 seasons ahead of the team's move to Vegas in 2028. That's the statement. But what? Like nothing? No addressing the fans that you're betraying? Nothing?
Well, let's take it a step further because John Fisher actually did address the fans today. Not only did he call Health Park the most intimate park in Major League Baseball, mind you, this is the A's owner says he can't wait to watch the MLB's top stars like Aaron Judge hit home runs here. John, Aaron Judge isn't on your team, so why are you looking forward to other star players hitting home runs against your team?
Insane.
Like, yeah.
Let's see. So Sutter Health Park. Sutter Health Park is the home of the Sacramento River Cats minor league baseball team. The capacity is 10,624 seats, but it can hold over 14,000. That includes the lawn seating,
which is still like half of what most MLB stadiums hold.
I mean,
now.
Sloan Park holds 20.
Yeah.
In Mesa. But here's the stat that I would like to share with you guys. I don't have the exact figures anymore, but I remember the ballpark. So the Cubs on opening day, we had 43,000 strong on opening day at Wrigley, opening it up. So much fun. It was cold, but it was great. The first 7 games at the Oakland Coliseum had 45,000.
Mm-hmm.
The Cubs almost beat them in 1 game.
Yeah.
And the 2 of the coldest games of the year that probably anybody's going to have to play, both of those combined were more than the 7 at Oakland.
Yeah, it's not going to get good anytime soon.
No, and I mean, being proud of going to Sacramento and playing in a minor league park as a major league team, that's insane to me.
Yep.
How many does the Coliseum hold? Sorry, this is bad podcasting.
Well, it's like, I mean, remember it was when they built Mount Davis to it. You had a football stadium.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. 63,000. It says.
Yeah.
That's a difference.
Yeah, it's crazy.
I feel bad. We haven't seen a team move since what was it, 2004 when the Expos became the Nationals? Was that the last time?
They became the Nationals in 2005, but remember in 2004 the Expos played a lot of games in Puerto Rico.
That's right.
Yeah.
And what's crazy is like athletic fans are some of the best baseball fans there
are. They're diehards.
And it just sucks that John Fisher is trying to make this an issue of fan support when it's not. Athletic fans are just tired of being insulted day after day after day by the ownership of their favorite team, and it's just a sad ending.
Yeah, it sucks. So I'm sure there's going to be more drama that comes out of it.
Oh yeah.
Speaking of drama, one more thing, baseball wise, I just saw this right before we started. Shohei Ohtani hit his first home run as a Dodger.
Yeah.
The woman who caught the ball basically got cornered and separated from her husband by the Dodger staff getting the ball until she took a deal to relinquish the ball.
Yeah.
The Athletic just posted
crazy.
I've read the article and I recommend it on the Athletic. But basically, I forget what she got. She got a signed ball, a signed hat, and a bat, and like she got 4 or 5 different things signed. But the ball could have been worth like 100,000, people are saying. And so the Dodgers staff like cornered her until she agreed to something stupid before they even let her be with her husband again. So they handled it terribly, is basically what it got
that
to.
sounds awful. Yeah.
So more drama around Shohei Ohtani.
Yeah, I mean,
This
I
one's
think
not
he
his
just
fault. Hand up, this
yeah,
one's
I
not
was
his
gonna
fault.
say this one's not on him unless he's going to sell the ball to pay off a game
Right,
winner. But
right.
hey, but
You said it.
hey, it's just crazy. I think we said it last week. I think we're going to learn exactly who Shohei is this season because he's with the Dodgers. He's not on the Angels anymore. Well, yes, he was the best player in baseball, but the Angels, frankly, don't get covered. The Dodgers do. Everything Shohei does, everything involving Shohei is going to be in the news. And this one, like you said, it's not on Shohei, but it's just another sketchy look for
It's just more of the fueling of the fire and just another storyline. He's dealt with more of this over the past few weeks than he ever did in Anaheim.
Yeah. I will say though, in a positive Shohei note, I am excited to actually see him play the Cubs because the memes that always come from Seiya and Shohei getting together on the basable field
Oh, it's
are
great.
Yeah.
It's great
amazing.
content.
They bring joy
Yeah.
to me, so I cannot wait
Yeah.
to see the latest.
Hey, yeah.
In Yamamoto throwing Imanaga, and it's gonna be a good
Yeah.
time.
I'm definitely gonna get in to Wrigley as soon as the gates open for sure.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'll see if I can take some pictures.
There you go.
Cool. And again, if anybody's gonna be at the game tomorrow, I'm gonna be there. Come hang out. Whatever. Alex, I hope you feel better, buddy.
Yeah.
Thanks. I think I've hit the arc, the peak, and it's already on the other swings. So I'm supposed to go to the Blackhawks game Sunday, so hopefully by then I'll be all right. So
Got the hat trick finally.
yeah, if Bedard gets that hat trick, I would love to be there in person. That would certainly make me feel better.
Yeah.
Not to mention that this will be my last game of the year. So I know it wasn't a great year, but hey, last game of the year. Hopefully, I can end the year on a good note, on a win, because I've only seen losses. So
hey, brighter days are ahead. Brighter days are ahead.
Yeah. So hopefully I'll see a good game. I think they're playing either Minnesota or Dallas, one of them. I don't remember which. Either way.
Yeah. I'll look it up while you guys tell me what we're going to lead the show with next week.
I will say the Cubs take 2 or 3 from the Dodgers.
Ooh, bold. I will say we're going to be talking about. How about a Seiya Suzuki 2-homer game?
Let's go.
Regardless of the opponent, 2-homer game, Seiya
yeah.
Suzuki. It'll happen within.
Okay, so here's what's wild. First off, they're playing the Wild.
Okay, that's what I thought.
Of Wild,
I was like 90% sure they were playing the Wild.
Second, I was going to say the Cubs take 2 or 3, and say I was going to have a 2-home run game. I was going to say both of those things. So here's what I'm going to say. I'm going to say Shota shuts him out.
There we go.
Shota Imanaga pitches another shutout. I don't care how many innings, but I'm going to say shutout. I'm going to say it. It's cold.
Be bold.
The Dodgers don't like cold.
That the narrative you're running with?
Yes.
Okay. All right.
All right, Mr. Cocos. What would you like to name the podcast?
Let's name it. How about We Still Love You, Chris Bryant?
I like that. There you go.
Oh, my heart.
Mm-hmm.
All right, everybody. Thank you for listening. And I think we can do Wednesday next week.
Okay.
Because the Cubs are on the West Coast. So
that's right.
We get the episode in beforehand. Yep.
Holla. All right. We'll talk to everybody next week.
Later, folks.